cross over to Ben Norton to speak more on this. He is the founder and editor of Geopolitical Economy Report. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. So first off, give me your analysis of now these various countries recognizing the opposition candidate as the president-elect. Most recently, Uruguay also joining that pact. Was this expected?
Well, yes. I mean, what we're seeing is similar to the geopolitical conflicts around the world. The situation in Venezuela has also become a geopolitical conflict. Although there are similarities to what happened in 2019 when the Donald Trump administration appointed a little-known opposition figure as the so-called interim president of Venezuela. His name was Juan Guaido. He had never participated in a presidential election, but the U.S. recognized him, and U.S. allies in the region also recognized him. So now what we're seeing is something very similar 5 years later, where Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, has officially recognized the opposition figure Edmundo González as the president, but the region is very deeply divided. And in fact, in the Organization of American States, the OAS, which is based in Washington, there was a vote to condemn Venezuela, and the region was divided, and the resolution was not passed because many heavyweights in the region did not support it, including Mexico and Brazil, which are the largest countries, and also Venezuela's neighbor, Colombia. And what we're seeing is that Mexico, Colombia, and Brazil are collaborating together, and they're trying to negotiate peace. And they're warning against foreign intervention. In particular, Mexico's president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, he gave a speech saying that they do not recognize the legitimacy of the OAS, pointing out that the OAS has been involved in coups d'etat in Latin America. In particular, in 2019, there was a coup that overthrew the democratically elected president of Bolivia, Evo Morales. So Mexico's president said that we're not going to participate in these proceedings, and he called for the end to foreign intervention in Venezuela. So what we see now is a larger geopolitical conflict where the U.S. and a group of right-wing governments in Latin America that are close to the U.S. have recognized the opposition, and many of the left-wing governments in the region have recognized Maduro, and also Venezuela has the backing of China, Russia, and Iran. So it's very similar to what happened in 2019 with Juan Guaido, but there's a different person now.
So there are divisions in the region, but there are also divisions within Venezuela as well. Just talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, this is a country that's been deeply divided for years now. And the reality is that for a decade now, every time there was a presidential election, the opposition has refused to recognize the results. This goes back to 2013 when President Maduro won his first election. The opposition candidate, Enrique Capriles, did not recognize the results. He claimed that there was fraud, although he didn't present any evidence. In 2018, the exact same thing happened. And then Trump, the year after that 2018 election, Trump recognized this opposition figure. And now we're in this situation again. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I can't say I'm surprised. I've been following Venezuelan politics for a long time. And basically every time there's an election, this is what happens, is that the opposition and its allies in Washington refuse to recognize the results. What we can expect is probably more sanctions from the U.S. But the reality is that Venezuela is already one of the most heavily sanctioned countries on earth. And these U.S. sanctions violate international law. They are unilateral. They do not have the support of the Security Council. And the top UN expert on sanctions, the Special Rapporteur Alina Duhan, has said that they violate international law. But you know, the U.S. has used sanctions against countries like Cuba, like Syria, like Iran. So we can expect probably more sanctions on Venezuela. And I think this situation is going to be similar to what we saw a few years ago, where half the region recognizes Venezuela, the government of Maduro, and half does not.
Okay, Ben Norton, thank you so much for being with us here on the NewsHour and sharing that analysis with us.